Welcome to Breaking Barriers with Bruce Marks, episode Voting Participation. NACA has 3.8 million members, and we have required our members over many years to register to vote. But the reality is people might not register to vote, or even when they do, they don't vote. So what are we doing about this? And it's a big issue because we have the numbers. We don't have to convince other people to vote or change their vote when we have the ability to have a tremendous impact in these crucial elections, whether it's a presidential election, Senate, Congress, and even more importantly, in many cases, even lower down, the judges, that's crucial, city council, school committees, all those positions, mayors, all those positions are so important on the local level as well as our national figures. And we understand why people don't vote, because in reality, they don't see the benefits of government programs. They don't see the benefits often of the regulations that are necessary to really control and put limits on what people in the private sector do. And also that they don't see the politicians, right? Because when you think about it, both parties, both the Republicans and the Democrats, you virtually never see your politician in the community. You might see him or her there just before elections, but then for the next 2, 4, 6 years, you don't see that person because, a lot of them are elite. They just don't want to get involved in the neighborhood issues. They don't want to they just don't do that work anymore. And, for a long, not that they were in the past, but I think that was more apparent in the past, but not now. So people say, well, why should I vote? What difference does it make? Well, obviously it makes a huge difference because if you don't vote, your voice is not heard. These politicians, they're self-interested. What matters most to them is that they get reelected. And they get reelected by votes, obviously. But what they think about is that they think the only way to get votes is to raise a ton of money from wealthy people, and they can do campaign ads and, use that money in that way. And frankly, that's how this industry has evolved, where the politicians raise the money from wealthy people and entities, and they just spend the money on TV, radio, social media, and there's a lot of consultants and entities that make money because they make 10, 15% on every buy. So there's a whole industry around it. But where there's not an industry around is getting out into the community to really touch the people and impact their constituents. So what is NACA doing? Well, first, before I get into the specifics, yes, I said NACA has 3.8 million members and growing. So we have 420,000 members in Georgia. We have over 200,000 members in North Carolina. We have over 250,000 members in Texas, over 300,000 members in Florida, and I can keep going. And so we have a huge opportunity. But now, as a condition for NACA membership, as a condition to being part of this organization, we are requiring our members, if they're legally able to vote in each one of the national elections starting this year. Because if you are a homeowner or gonna be a homeowner, you need those services. Well, everybody needs those services, but particularly as a homeowner, because you're going to be living in that community for a long time. And you want good schools. Your vote counts for that. You want to have your garbage picked up. Your vote is crucial to have that happen. You want services in your neighborhood. You want the right form of protection in your neighborhood. Your vote counts there. So your voice has to be heard as a condition for membership. And remember, it's not unusual because when somebody joins voluntarily an organization, whether it's a club or a community or an organization, there are conditions on what are the requirements as a condition of membership. So one of the conditions of membership now is you vote. Now, obviously, you vote any way you want, and that's obviously secret. But what's not secret is that whether you voted or not, because that's public information. So you have to vote as a NACA member. And now we're taking it a step further. We're saying not just vote, as a condition for membership, but as part of your participation, we want you to come to a NACA office during early voting and to vote with us as a group. So we could go to the voting sites with 50, 100, 200 members at one time to vote. Because remember, in early voting, in virtually all the parts of the country, you don't have to go to your particular precinct. You just have to go to the voting site within that county. So we'll take you to the voting site closest to the office. So you come to the NACA office during the hours of early voting, and you can either drive with us or we'll transport you to the closest voting site. And we're going to make this a fun and enjoyable opportunity, because that's what it is. It's exciting, and come together with the NACA homeowners. But look, NACA's not new to this. In 2020, during that presidential election, we did the Rolls to the Polls. And the Rolls to the Polls is where we rented over 215-seat vans. We focused in on Georgia, North Carolina, and Texas, particularly in Georgia. And we had these vans for over 6 weeks. And we were instrumental in bringing people to the polls and getting the word out. And we were crucial in the results of that election. And yes, NACA does have a PAC, and we do take positions, but everybody has the right to vote the way that they feel comfortable. But when you vote with NACA, what that also increases the power of your vote. So when people see hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of people with their NACA shirts voting with NACA, that amplifies the power of your vote. So even if you take the position, which we disagree, that your vote doesn't matter because you never see those politicians or you don't think it has an impact, but it does. But even if you believe that, by voting with NACA, you increase the power of NACA. You increase our ability to get more assistance for you as a home buyer. You increase our ability to say there needs to be grant funds to make housing more affordable. You increase our power to take on these corporate landlords who are buying up single-family houses and renting them out to you at exorbitant rents. You increase our power to get better services out there. You increase our power to get even better terms on the mortgage. So take that position. Yes, you should vote because it's important to have your voice heard, but it's equally important to vote with NACA as a group, because this is not an individual endeavor. This is a group endeavor. And, we don't have to do the canvassing to get other people to vote. We don't have to do the outreach to get other people to vote. We control this process within NACA. If NACA members vote, and we got to make sure everybody's registered, then we can be the change maker in a massive way in this country. And then we can go to the politicians and make those demands that are not for the wealthy, for the well-heeled, for the people with the money. We can say, to the politicians, you can get all the money in the world, but you can't buy our vote. You can't do that, not unless you stand with us fighting for economic justice. So we talk about breaking barriers. Well, we are in the forefront of breaking barriers. So our Rolls to the Polls will break a barrier that is unheard of. And we have the power to do that. You have the power as a NACA member to do that. So even if you're not a NACA member, go to our website and you can join us, sign up, or come to the local offices and vote with us. So, but we want to focus on NACA members, but we want NACA members to bring their family, their friends, their neighbors. And even if you're just listening to this podcast and you want to join NACA, come to our offices and you can enjoy that event with us, and we'll bring you to the polls to vote. Obviously, again, whoever you vote for, that's your choice. But it's crucial that your voice is heard. So everybody, thank you for listening to this episode of Breaking Barriers with Bruce Marks. We look forward to seeing you at the NACA offices in our Rolls to the Polls, and we'll have a lot more of these podcasts going forward. Thank you again. Have a good one.